Iran says it has reached an understanding with the United States on the main guiding principles for a deal to avoid conflict. The Omani-mediated talks were aimed at averting the possibility of U.S. military intervention to curb Iran's nuclear program, weeks after thousands were killed in mass demonstrations. Now, speaking after the indirect talks in Geneva, the Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi cleared that progress does not mean an agreement will be reached soon.
This does not mean that we can reach an agreement quickly, but at least the path has started. We hope that this will be done as soon as possible, and we are prepared to spend enough time on it. However, when it comes to drafting the text, the work becomes a bit more difficult and detailed.
In Washington, the U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance said the talks went well in some ways. In an interview with Fox News, he said that he spoke to the U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner earlier in the day about negotiations with Iran. Now, J.D. Vance further said that the U.S. had made it clear where its red lines are, including blocking Iran from gaining a nuclear weapon. The U.S. Vice President further warned that while they would prefer a diplomatic solution, all options are still on the table.
Today, I think the president has a lot of options. We do have a very powerful military. The president's shown a willingness to use it. He also has a remarkable diplomatic team. He's shown a willingness to use that too. And so,
now, before the talks, Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei had expressed skepticism over the outcome. Referring to U.S. calls for Iran to abandon its nuclear program, he said, determining the outcome of the negotiations in advance is a mistake and madness. In a message to Washington, the U.S. would not succeed in destroying Iran. The U.S. has moved more than 50 fighter jets towards West Asia in the last 24 hours, and the aircraft include the F-22, the F-35 and the F-16 fighter jets, along with several refueling planes. Now, alongside the air deployment, the U.S.'s Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier strike group has departed the Caribbean and is now in the mid-Atlantic, heading towards West Asia. Now, according to the Associated Press, a U.S. special official speaking on condition of anonymity has said that the Ford is now sailing with 3 guided missile destroyers, the USS Mahan, the USS Bainbridge and USS Winston Churchill. Now, Iran has also sought to display its military might, with its Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps conducting a series of war games in the Strait of Hormuz to prepare for potential security and military threats. It is a strategically significant waterway through which a large share of the world's energy supplies pass, making any military activity in the area a focus of international attention. Now, following this, the Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian has reiterated once again that the country is not seeking nuclear weapons in any way or form.
Iran has temporarily closed parts of the strategic Strait of Hormuz for several hours, citing security precautions during live-fire military drills. But this move could have serious consequences, which comes at a time that Iranian officials hold their second round of indirect talks with the United States over the nuclear program in Geneva. It's the first time in years that Tehran has announced such a closure of this key international waterway, through which nearly 20% of the world's oil passes. Major oil producers in the region, like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Iran itself, rely on it to export crude. Any disruption, even temporary, can heighten geopolitical tensions and send shockwaves through global shipping and energy prices, similar to when Yemen's Houthi rebel group disrupted global shipping in the Red Sea. That's why closures like today's are watched so closely, not just in the region, but around the world.